It was almost 3 a.m. in London, and Harry Kane couldn't rise from his couch, couldn't even lift his head from his hands. This was 3 years ago, long before he was poised to carry the weight of English expectations as the team's youngest World Cup captain. On Feb. 1, 2015, Kane was struck immobile in his living room by the same thought every other Patriots fan had: the Seahawks are going to hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch, and there's nothing New England can do. Super Bowl 49 is over. 2 years earlier, Kane had been struggling to find playing time in England's second tier, and doubted his own future as a soccer player. Searching YouTube for inspiration, he found The Brady Six, a documentary about Tom Brady's rise from 6th-round draft pick to all-time great quarterback. I fell in love with the story. Kane says, what he had to do to prove everyone wrong, it was a similar situation to myself. He was soon posting photos of himself. English football star has since become such an American football junkie that he and his fiancée, Kate, have a dog named Brady. If her Instagram post, "Hate Sundays." This season, it was English midfielder and Eagles fan Eric Dier who got to enjoy a wee hour win after donning a dog mask in front of his Tottenham teammate before the big game. Thanks in part to online gaming and international exhibitions, the bromance is mutual. Well, former Bears coach Mike Ditka famously said, "If God had wanted man to play soccer, he wouldn't have given us arms." NFL locker rooms are now full of players using those arms to play one of the world's top-selling video games, FIFA, which Electronic Arts created in 1993 after the success of Madden. In Green Bay, the offensive linemen commandeer a rec room for their 2-on-2 FIFA battles. Though Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers doesn't play often, he holds his own. Teammate and tackle David Bakhtiari says, "Because, honestly, Aaron is good at everything he does." Ravens lineman Jermaine Illuminor and Ronnie Stanley, along with wideout Chris Moore, team up online, each controlling a custom-made player on a shared Pro Club account. Illuminor, a tackle from England who fell for the NFL when he watched the first London Series game, in 2007, always plays as a midfielder to better control the action. In Washington, D.C., cornerback Josh Norman has been known to charge challengers $200. "You can't come from the bottom and expect to play the top guy," he told The Ringer last November. Receivers Jarvis Landry, Browns, and Odell Beckham Jr. Giants have been fans of Cristiano Ronaldo since before they were teammates at LSU in 2011, where they used to repeatedly simulate Real Madrid versus Real Madrid matchups. While Madden is complex for newcomers, multiple soccer players said they enjoy the game but avoid online competition. FIFA offers a more accessible introduction to the global game. Soccer now permeates Sundays, from pre-game or rainbow flicks to post-game jersey swaps. For 20 years, U.S. goalkeeper Tim Howard has watched the two footballs move closer as he played for teams in the States and the UK. "It's incredible to see the mutual respect that has grown," says Howard, who has a James Harrison Steelers jersey hanging in his Memphis home. Over the last 11 years, the NFL has hosted 21 games in London soccer stadiums, with 3 more set for October. These matchups have drawn fans such as Bosnian goalkeeper Osmir Begovic, Austrian defender David Alaba and English keeper Jack Butland, who wore a Rodgers jersey to a Vikings-Browns game last season. In 2016, French midfielder Paul Pogba, a good friend of Norman's, got to see his first NFL game when the Redskins played the Bengals at Wembley Stadium. This summer, after the World Cup, soccer clubs from 5 European countries will play 17 matches across the U.S. as part of the International Champions Cup. Last year, Real Madrid and FC Barcelona drew 66,000 in Miami. Watching Barca's 3-2 win at Hard Rock Stadium, Landry became an even bigger fan. The skill set is on a different level, he says. You can't imagine what these guys make look easy, after tight end Coby Fleener griped to the New York Times that Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck talks about soccer more than some of his teammates would like. Luck and Fleener went to see Liverpool play at West Ham. The 2-1 LFC victory muted Fleener's complaints about locker room football talk. Watching something in person, you realize how incredible it is, says Luck, who spent much of his childhood in England and Germany. When you see a guy kick the ball 60 yards and place it perfectly on the left knee of a sprinting left back, it's much easier to appreciate. Kane has made several tours of the U.S. with Tottenham Hotspur. In 2014, he and several teammates worked out with the Seahawks at their training facility, an experience Kane has called a dream come true. Seattle linebacker KJ Wright, who didn't have much success booting a soccer ball in spite of the tutoring provided by Tottenham, was equally thrilled to interact with the soccer stars. To meet guys I play with on the video game, it was real fun, Wright told the Seattle Times. Kane has remained a Pats fan, despite his time in Seattle. American defender Jeff Cameron, born in Massachusetts, is more militant about his New England affiliation. He declined a separate opportunity to visit the Seahawks. Players also develop relationships on their own time. Kane exchanges texts with Pats wideout Julian Edelman. Courtois struck up a friendship with defensive end Chris Long after hearing the two-time Super Bowl winner was a Chelsea fan, and Stanley connected with German defender Jerome Boateng through their shared agency, Rock Nation. Bakhtiari, meanwhile, has worked hard to meet his favorite player, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He flew to England in January, but the Swedish striker, then with Man United, was an injury scratch. Still, Bakhtiari was awed by how Liverpool's Anfield Stadium rocked a day earlier as thousands of fans chanted in unison. After Ibra joined the LA Galaxy in March, Bakhtiari attended a match and asked for a post-game introduction. Bakhtiari expected a brief meet and greet. Instead, the two chatted for nearly an hour. Ibrahimovic has not been to an NFL game, but Bakhtiari is confident he has earned the Swedes' allegiance. Zlatan is a Packers fan. With the U.S. not in the field at the World Cup, soccer fans across the NFL will have divided allegiances. Landry will be rooting for Portugal because of Ronaldo. Luck has decided to back Mexico, even though he's always rooted against El Tri when they face the U.S. men's national team. Norman and Stanley will be among the Americans hoping to attend matches in Russia, but they'll be rooting for their friends, Norman backing Pogba in France, Stanley supporting Boateng's German side. As for Jaguars kicker Josh Lambo, he doesn't think he'll be able to cheer for anyone. Having worn the national team jersey, I don't think I can ever root for another country, he says. Lambo played goalkeeper for a U.S. youth team against the likes of Germany's Toni Kroos and Belgium's Eden Hazard before becoming the first player to go from high-level soccer to the NFL, a move Kane would like to replicate when his time in the Premier League ends. I have always said I'd like to try and see if it would be possible, Kane told C.com last summer. Depends on how my career goes and injuries and how I age. But if I get to a stage where I am still fit and feel like I can do a job, I'd love to. If they have a team in England, it could work perfectly. 50-yard field goal check mark. How far if I had my boots on? Thinking face. Great day with that NFL at Giants at the humble_21 doing some drills. Indomitian Sue, and I think it will always be that way. Sue's father played semi-pro in Germany while studying to become a mechanical engineer. His older sister spent time with Cameroon's national team as a midfielder, playing in the 2008 African Women's Championship. While other NFL players fell for soccer only recently, Sue grew up playing the sport before he physically outgrew it in 8th grade. He's been hooked since 1994, when he watched Cameroon play a World Cup game in the U.S. Cameroon didn't qualify this year, so Sue has adopted Nigeria, because it's an African nation and because it has accepted refugees from its southern neighbor. On the flip side, a number of young U.S. players who compete in Germany have helped popularize the other football with their Bundesliga teammates. Weston McKennie, Schalke, and Christian Pulisic, Borussia Dortmund, set aside their club rivalry to have a Super Bowl party last February, along with Schalke youth player and Virginia-born Nick Heidegger. Schalke U19 keeper Thymen Wiener hosted a party for the group, complete with mounds of chicken wings and cookies from Subway. A couple of years ago, teammates never would have been talking about the Super Bowl. Heidegger says, "It's cool to see. The group stayed up past 5 a.m. to watch the Eagles' 41-33 win over the Patriots. The next day, the players debated Butler's benching and reviewed highlights to understand how Philadelphia quarterback Nick Foles pulled off that 4th-and-goal trick play." As Kane rooted for Brady from England, so did 19-year-old Florian Krueger in Germany. "He is like an idol for me," the Schalke forward says. Krueger, a Rams fan, and Wiener, a Giants fan, spent the next several months obsessing over mock drafts, keeping Heidegger up to date with the latest rumors. The Super Bowl will never match the World Cup for global attention, no matter how many games the NFL plays on other continents. But after the trophy is awarded on July 15 in Moscow, the bonds between professional football and soccer players will continue to grow. And FIFA 19 should be out in September.